What's going on, guys? Vic VP back with another Gamecase Arcades video. On this one today, it's about time I say goodbye to these cheap Aimtraks and introduce the new Rs3 Reapers from RetroShooter. It's got a top sliding recoil and rumble in the handle. Let's take a look. I can even control the menu and everything on the gun. What? All right, you know the drill. If you're not following me on all the socials, what are you waiting for? Be sure to follow me at Vic_VP. Click the Linktree link down below. It'll bring you to this nice convenient page that has all the socials: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Be sure to also like, comment, and subscribe. Yep. It's been a much needed upgrade. Let me know what you guys think of this new Rs3 Reapers from RetroShooter. Man, yes, it's funny. Again, this video right now, we are going to be comparing it. It's going to be a quick 30 seconds. But basically, I'm titling this as like Aimtrak versus the new Reaper. And obviously, you know, the Aimtraks are just nothing compared to this. It's been a long time coming. This is something, you're going to hear my little story. Vic, you build these custom arcades and you have Aimtraks? Yes, I'll tell you why I have Aimtraks. Vic, I've seen you build customers' arcades with the Time Crisis guns from Gun for IR. What are your thoughts of like Gun for IR to this? Again, stay tuned. I will be discussing and giving my opinions on everything. But, you know, to make it short and sweet, there's a reason why I have those Aimtraks. And you'll understand the reason. But these, I've only had about an hour or two of gameplay on this. And man, it's quite mind-boggling what they did / what I got for the amount of money I paid. That is what's really crazy in this. But man, let's take a look. Now, real quick, if you are new here, I am Vic VP. I do build custom arcades. That is my full-time job. Whether you want dedicated shooters, dedicated Guitar Hero, virtual pinball, vertical arcades, you want to take a look at my signature by Vic series cabinets, again, such as the dedicated shooter and the 55-inch 4-player or 2-player, or even possibly if somebody ever requested a 6-player arcade cabinet, I'm your guy. I do build custom arcades. This right here, you could see a lot, and my signature by Vic design. You'll see this a lot on TikTok. People go nuts on TikTok. Whoa, what is this? Where did you get it? Who did you get it from? And I always write there, I build custom arcades. This is my personal dedicated shooter, Dance Dance Revolution, Guitar Hero, DJ Hero, and karaoke, all in one multicade. So yes, this is my signature, the House of Rock. You'll check back on my videos, you'll see this build. What an amazing build. Again, big thing, when it comes to light gun games specifically, you need a big screen. Again, if you do have a 22-inch, 27-inch, 32-inch, that's A-okay, that's all good. Me personally, when it comes to a light gun game, bigger is better. Take a look at now all the modern shooters such as Terminator Salvation or even Aliens Armageddons at the arcades. Bigger screens are a thing. So again, this is a 55-inch screen on this. And man, I am just really excited to show off and talk about a much needed upgrade that my cabinet needed, which is these Reapers, the Rs3s from RetroShooter. Now I'm gonna make it short and sweet because my objective was to compare these guns to Aimtraks. Vic, it's 2024, almost 2025. Nobody has Aimtraks. I know. I remember when I started this whole arcade emulation job and research and content creation, there wasn't many light guns out there. It was really only the Aimtraks. And then stuff picked up. We then got, like, I think Sinden came out. There's some bullshit about like an AE gun that people got scammed with. You got RetroShooter, which right now, I remember when this first came out, it was like a red and blue gun, and I was like, it looked ugly, and I heard it was like cheap 3D printed stuff. Then you got also now Gunfire. It's been a while. Again, I've been at this at 13 years. This is, this reminds me of like the original NES Zapper. It's just like a cheap plastic thing. But it gave me happiness and pleasure to be able to play all of these light gun games with ease. The Aimtraks were plug and play. This is like super simple. Then Aimtraks came out with this whole Bluetooth dongle where you could go wireless. I got excited for that because I don't want a wire, but that was a nightmare because I couldn't get 2 players to work, yada, yada, yada. Again, it's very simple. Obviously, anything, I'm even gonna say it, I don't use them, but Sinden is even better than the Aimtraks. I will never use Sinden or work with Sinden because of the whole extra programs. I don't do Sinden. So that's been like that for years, and I never will work with Sinden. Basically, the retro shooters are honestly it's truly plug and play. Alongside Gunfire, I can't knock Gunfire. It's plug and play. Biggest thing is that as long as when you plug it in to your computer, it's recognized as a mouse, you will have ease when it comes to that. Whereas like, Sinden, you gotta launch an extra border. Again, I don't work with Sinden, so I've seen all the hoopla about I need this extra program and I need a border, but there's no sensor, so that's no. But again, these retro shooters, these are gonna go up for sale, or I don't even think they're gonna move, so I might as well give them away. So stay tuned for that. But yes, Aimtraks, anything is better than the Aimtrak. Last little note to talk about with the Aimtraks, this had one version originally, which was like the regular like plastic that I have. Then they did add the whole recoil inside, basically a simple solenoid that would give you that feedback. Again, you got to think 12 years ago, that was like mind blowing. Like what? How is that possible? And then now technology has all changed. Now we have top sliding recoil and rumble inside the handle. Everything has changed. Look at the newer modern guns that now there's a reload button on the butt of the gun. Technology has changed. Now you might be saying to yourself, Vic, you build custom arcade cabinets. You have Aimtraks? Like that's like a sin. What if a customer wants to come in and like try out? You're gonna have them try it out on an Aimtrak? Yes, let me tell you the reason why I have an Aimtrak, okay? This might change now with the Reapers, but I don't know. For me personally, I do love my dedicated shooter. I love everything about it. This cabinet though, it's a cabinet that is no joke. It is turned on really mostly if there's any new light gun games that come out or if I'm having a party. So what am I getting at? I like my light gun games. Don't get me wrong. I will try to stream now, but YouTube has this thing, like now I shouldn't be even like waving this thing around. But, rules and restrictions have been a thing with, showing guns off. We've done live streams and accidentally like Ray or Joel showed off a light gun and then we got flagged. So it's like, I don't want to really risk anything like that. But you got to keep in mind a cabinet like this that gets played a handful of times a year. I couldn't take that leap, or I didn't want to spend extra money on a light gun or a add-on on a cabinet that, or I should say a game system that I wasn't using a lot of. Me personally, I still love the Gunfire, the Time Crisis guns, that all metal gun, the Namcos. Beautiful. I'm not talking about the Super Jolts. I'm talking about the original, and now Ray does have the replica Time Crisis guns. Beautiful. I've done those several times for customers. It's just, I wasn't able to justify spending $2,000 on light guns alone. Whoa, Vic, 2,000, yes. The Time Crisis guns from Ray Arpeg Electronics, they range from about $900 to $1,000 per gun. That is a whole modified, that is a retrofitted, he takes an original shell, modifies it with Gunfire, he puts the lens on, he's doing a lot of work. I just couldn't justify that. $2,000 on a cabinet that it's only played a handful of times compared to pinball, compared to like my Bivic 43 terabyte arcade build, compared to my virtual pinball machine. I didn't want to spend $2,000 on, I would rather spend $2,000 on a pinball machine, put it towards that. But that is the reason why I've always had Aimtraks. Now, Vic, you could have gotten the GunCon ones from Ray RPEG Electronics. He, with the rumble and the solenoid, it just doesn't have a sliding top slider. Again, I think those range for about $350 to $400. Same thing, I was like $800. I didn't want to spend that money. Yes, I'll say it, I was cheap. I didn't want to spend it. The Aimtraks did what I needed to do. I got family coming over. We could just, play some Time Crisis. We could play some Area 51, House of the Dead. It did what I needed to do. Accuracy to me was fine. It wasn't that bad. Oh, this drag, I didn't see that. It's, you point the gun at the screen and it does it. Oh, if it's a millisecond off, it's not that big of a deal. But again, those Aimtraks were like $100 per gun. So for $200, I was happy for, this cabinet right here is about 3 to 4 years old. 3 years old. So I was happy for about 3 years. Now, I saw my buddy Retro Ralph show off these, and I was mind blown. My mind was just blown away because he was holding a gun that closely resembles, I would say, the Time Crisis Namco's. I'm not gonna say it's perfect, but the biggest thing was that I saw in this video, we got like LEDs here. The number one thing is that top slider. That is number one. Then I learned that there's a rumble in the handle. Then there's a button on the butt that you could use to reload. It got my blood was boiling. I was like, whoa, this is insane. I then go and he says there it's a RetroShooter. It's the new Reapers. I go online and the amount of money, the price that they have these guns at is unbelievable. It is unreal. Vic, what did you pay? I paid for my RetroShooters. This isn't sponsored. I paid full retail for this. Everything. DHL after all the shipping, it was $306. Let that sink in real quick. That is $153 per gun. And the amount of stuff that I got for $306 is insane. Not only do I have 2 sliding recoil 24-volt light guns, I also have 2 foot pedals. I also have the power supply for them, and it also came with like this Android box that I didn't even plug in. I didn't need it. But the amount of stuff that I got is literally mind-blowing. It is nuts. So again, keep in mind, $100 for my Aimtraks versus $150. That to me, I'm in that all day, and I gotta say, there's no regrets on this at all. Now there was also stuff like the sensors. The packaging on this was just amazing. I was like, whoa, this is professional grade packaging. Now me, yes, I am running the Gun for IR sensors on my screen. Again, this is a 55-inch screen. I had to move them because my original sensors were in a cross, or they call it diamond pattern. I now have it as a square pattern. That is a must. You must move your sensors to that. The original sensors that come with the RetroShooters, they're pretty cool. They're just kind of thick. And a lot of people in the Facebook group, they're buying like the USB-C 90-degree angle, so you don't see the wires much. But luckily with Gun for IR, I'm able to use the sensors there. Again, for the amount of money I paid, and if you did not get these, I highly recommend you grab these, especially for the price. I believe they undersold this. This right here, if I had to pay $500, maybe even $600, I would pull the trigger. Again, that's $300 per gun for all of the stuff. And again, the biggest thing also is that I have foot pedals, 2 foot pedals. So player 1 and player 2, we could both enjoy Time Crisis 2 on the PS2 emulation, and we could use our foot pedals. I think it's nuts for the price. Again, if you did not buy these yet, I highly recommend it. I have a big feeling that they definitely right now, they see how many orders were made, and they're gonna most likely raise the price because supply and demand, I guess you could say, or capitalism. But if you didn't grab these, you really should have. Now let's talk about the guns themselves. Again, you can see how my my gun holsters on my cabinet are. It's just basically a hole. The gun holsters, I believe I've read, if you have regular Namco holsters, it will fit. Now, the biggest thing I said, this gun right here, once you plug it in, it is recognized as a mouse, which is a big need. Just like Gunfry are, just like the Aimtraks. As long as it's recognized as a mouse, you could play 99.9, all of them honestly, 100% of all the light gun games that are available, because majority of them are, they need a mouse and a mouse click. You could play some retro consoles such as the NES. Who doesn't love Duck Hunt? That needs a mouse. There's no way to do that with a, such as a mounted gun. You can't do that. So that was a big plus right here. I plugged in the gun, pretty simple. It does have calibration software. They send it to you via email when they ship the device out. But RetroShooter does have a Facebook group, and it's pretty active. I honestly had to mute the group because there's really three main things in that group. Number one, people are like, where's my shipping? Where's the shipping details? When is my shit gonna ship? I ordered at this date. So it's like everybody's like asking where their product is. Number two, a lot of people are getting scammed. Like, I ordered from this guy and I didn't get, like, ordered directly from them. And then number three, everybody is asking who has the best build? Who has the best plug and play build for these Reapers? It is what it is. For me personally, I do have my own shooter drive. This is one that I did. I did upgrade from Hyperspin to Launchbox Big Box. So there you go. Somebody commented on my short, was like, hey, do these guns work with like Batasara or with Joel Retro Lizard? And I'm like, go ask Joel. I have my own drive. If you have my drive, you can ask my questions about my drive, but go ask Joel about Joel's drive. But yes, again, big deal when it comes to making sure that this is just read as a mouse. Now, as far as the buttons and the calibration wasn't needed, but I still ran it. Very simple user interface. It makes sure that you have the sensors in the four corners. Then you shoot the screen 4 times. And then you have an option to do like an I/O test to make sure your buttons work and such. Now, what's kind of crazy with the way these guns are, you basically have 1, 5, you have up, down, left, right. There's an actual analog stick here, and you could push it in for Q. And as you can see, I could navigate Launchbox Big Box with this. Then you have your left trigger, which is your trigger. Yeah, left mouse click, which is your trigger. This button right here is registering as right mouse, and the butt of the gun is registering as middle mouse click. So you technically have 2, 4, 5. Yeah, 2, 4, 5, 6. You have 6 buttons plus up, down, left, right, which is crazy in this. Now, when it comes to the whole like calibration software and all that, one thing I would say, but it's not a big deal, there is going to be some modifications to my drive specifically. Again, I had Aimtraks, and I only had 3 buttons, whereas this has way more buttons. You cannot modify or change the inputs that this gun is sending to your computer. So one thing that I thought the butt of the gun, this reload, I thought it was linked to this button. I thought it was like basically just one button just kind of daisy chained off. I'm happy to learn that it's 2 separate buttons, but in reality, this button doesn't reload games unless you configure it. This one right here is middle mouse click. So for example, when I do run my main arcade, such as Area 51, my reload is right mouse or shoot off screen. That this does do that. It's not mapped to my middle mouse. My middle mouse on some games is mapped out to like missiles. So I'm gonna have to play around with that. I have to do some custom modifications. I could run an AHK that will send middle mouse as right mouse click and just have that running in the background. But that's probably the only thing that I noticed. I know now we're gonna go into this whole realm when it comes to, you could use this program called MaimHooker. I've played around with this program, MaimHooker, and you need to really prepare yourself for MaimHooker. If you're gonna use MaimHooker, prepare yourself for it. I have this, do I have a line on me? I'm sorry, I realize I have like the shadow because of the light and all that, the tripod, whatever. Again, if you're the type of person that wants this gun to do extra features or react to the way the game should be played, such as, you know, the House of the Dead. The House of the Dead is a single fire game. As you can see, I hold down the trigger and it's just, you know, the slider is going. There are options here where you could turn off the recoil or you could set it to 1. To me, that's perfectly fine. I do not care about that. I do love the on-off, you know, I like that here. But there are some die-hard fans that say, hey, when I launch House of the Dead, I want this to just click one time. Not only do I want it to click one time, but this also has LEDs. And if I have 5 bullets, I would love for it to, you know, if I shoot one bullet goes down. That is a lot of extra stuff. I have been using Maim Hooker for E-Rock's special build. I'm gonna tell you right now, Maim Hooker, it's a pain in the ass. So if you do want all those features, you need to prepare yourself. It is not a simple, oh, let me just change a line of code. No, it's very intense. I plan to attempt that with this, but in reality, I have zero desire because me personally, I'm a simple person. I could simply just be happy with a sliding recoil or not. Like I did a short playing Time Crisis. I just had the gun set to single fire and I was perfectly happy. Again, if you're gonna do Maim Hooker, just prepare yourself because that is a lot of work. Now, as far as the pedal, it looks like the pedal is mapped out to this button here, which is the right mouse click. Because every time I actually hit the pedal, the rumble in the handle shakes. So again, I would expect that Maim Hooker would be able to change that. But for right now, anytime you reload or you press, you know, the right mouse click, or if you press the pedal, the handle rumbles. Playing a game such as Time Crisis, where I have to keep my foot down on the pedal, the rumble is always on as I'm standing up on Time Crisis. So that's like the only thing, but it's not detrimental. That's where you would probably want Maim Hooker. But again, it's really not that big of a deal. Again, this right here in my hands, it's beautiful. It's got the perfect amount of weight. It is a tad bit lighter than the real Time Crisis or replica Time Crisis guns. The one thing I've always said, especially when it comes to light gun games, if you're here and you're playing for about, let's say 20 minutes, arms get tired. And my arms get tired with the Aimtraks. This now has more weight than the Aimtraks, so prepare yourself, your arms will get tired. Also, the gray, beautiful. I love the dual combo on that. Look at that, you got black or gray. There are people that are modifying where they take the top slider of the black and they swap it with the gray. I think the gray is awesome, reminds me kind of like a Deagle, but this is insane. And I cannot believe that I only paid $306 shipped, landed to me. How? Like how? Now the one last thing, especially if I have customers that want these, I'm gonna have to think of a mounting solution. Me personally, I am using their Firebase hub, which is right here. So there's a lot of action on the floor. Again, I have to kind of modify my cabinet. I actually drilled a hole through the base of my cabinet as this has a USB and the 24-volt adapter going into it. So I was gonna basically just kind of double sticky tape it here. I would really wanna, make a permanent mount. Obviously for, newer builds, I would make a window cutout. But the Firebase, I believe, is a must. Joel, Retro Lizard, had the best thing to say about it, where it's one USB and one power cable. And that's it. This Firebase then has all the connections. So we actually have 5 USB connections here on this Firebase. You only really need 2, but they give you 5. You also then have the input power for the actual recoil, and then you have the other input for the pedal. It's all there. Now, the only thing I'm bringing you down here is that you can kind of see how the wiring, there's wires. That's a thing. Playing Time Crisis, I would just, wheel out the pedal, The pedal has a lot of wire connected to it, which is a good thing. I would probably, me personally, I would try to look for a solution where maybe I could find a retractable kind of setup, but nothing to complain about. As far as like the quality of the pedal, I like the pedal. I think it's awesome. It's a very simple pedal. It's pretty durable. The construction on it is good. But somebody did post on Facebook that they like broke their pedal. I had my 3-year-old daughter actually put her full body weight on both pedals at the same time. And we're still here. So now without further ado, let's get some gameplay. Let's do Time Crisis. This is also another cool thing with this analog stick. I could basically search in Launchbox, Big Box, even Hyperspin. You could do your like long press, but I could just go here and go to Time Crisis. Now I do need enter, so I do have my arcade buttons mapped. Green button is enter, and we are basically good to go. Now, the big thing is that normally for like MAME and all my other light gun games, I like to have the coin and the start on the gun. This way you're not kind of like jumping back and forth. Usually the left trigger will press start. I currently didn't do any modifications really with my MAME setup at least. So MAME coin is set for middle mouse. And like I said earlier, this is the middle mouse. This is where I could go into MAME and I could adjust the reload to be the butt of the gun and or the right mouse click. But Time Crisis, it utilizes the pedal, so it's not really a reload button, it's just you gotta let go of the pedal. So without further ado, let's play some Time Crisis. It's always kind of difficult to get accuracy videos because I'm just not that great at, light gun games, but let's rock. Again, I set the gun to single fire. Beautiful. And you don't have to really be that far away or close to the screen because this does have a fisheye lens, so it does work out pretty well. And again, Time Crisis is a game where the less shots, the better because of the accuracy. Now again, as I'm holding down the pedal, the handle's rumbling. So some people might not like that. It's just really for Time Crisis. Again, I really should just take one shot for the accuracy, but all in all, beautiful. I don't need the pedal. I could just use my thumb here and take the shot there. Or you're playing Time Crisis, you should use the pedal. Again, beautiful. Again, recoil set to just single fire. Now we ran Time Crisis 1. You obviously have to run Time Crisis 2, PS2 emulation, so PCSX2. Yes, I am using player 2 right now. You can use player 1, but yes, it is a 2-player game, and you could use 2 pedals with it. So the thing about this game, there's no crosshairs, and I'm not that great at light gun games, so do not judge my shooting / accuracy on the guns. You could definitely blame me for it. But again, you don't need the actual pedal plugged in. You could just utilize this button here. Pretty cool. They also have on Facebook, they're like, hey, if you're a lefty, message us, and maybe they could send you a modified shell. Because as you can see, like the lefties, you can't hit that button. You could kind of hit it with the index finger, but it's like a nuisance. You don't really want to play that way. Without further ado, let's see. So again, no buttons being pressed. You can see player 2, and then player 1, 2 separate pedals. Awesome, there's player 2. Player 1. I got him right in the foot. Awesome, you can just see it, that's just great. Again, pedals were included. $306. Pedals, I'm dancing on, you can't see it, but I'm dancing. I'll do one last game, we'll run House of the Dead, but look at that, I'm able to navigate with this. The analog stick is awesome. Joel Retro Lizard said he's gonna actually kind of sit down and try out a couple of Wii games to see what will work well with this analog stick. Too Spicy would be an easy one and such. But as you can see, we got House of the Dead here. This emulator, you need to press 5 or 1. So I could put the coins in and I could press 1 to start. It's all conveniently here on the light gun itself. We could skip. Again, I still have the gun set to single fire. I could set it to, multi. But you know, some people might be like, oh, it's not like reacting. Why is the gun? Me personally, I don't care about that. That's where main hooker comes in. But for right now, let's blast some zombies. We'll bring in player 2. You can press the button here, button 1. I wasn't paying attention, but that's all right. We got them. Awesome, sweet. This actually, you can see here, I'm using lefty, and I'm able to just hit that button with my index finger. Again, it's not like a great feeling, but it is what it is. Reload, reload, continue. Awesome, beautiful. House of the Dead. Again, any game that will accept mouse will work. And if you are in this emulation world, that is every light gun game there is. It will accept a mouse. This will be good to go. Now, final thoughts to wrap this video up. Yes, I'm kind of in honeymoon phase. This thing is awesome. I love this thing. It definitely beats my Aimtraks. Those things are gone. They're gone. The only thing, if I'm gonna be brutally honest with you guys, the only thing I'm worried about how long that is gonna last. That is the only fear I have. I'm worried about, like, I would assume there's a spring, there's definitely a solenoid. How long before this solenoid overheats / breaks, and then people would assume that they now have a paperweight? You know, being in this whole realm, modifying is a thing that me, myself, and some others do. So as far as like, hey, a solenoid burns out, maybe swapping it, I didn't open this up, but maybe swapping it is an easy DIY 10, 15-minute fix. But there are some people that are just not handy enough to do that. So you got to keep in mind, it is a moving part. Usually moving parts, they could break. There is a possibility of it breaking. There is a solenoid in this. There's a possibility of it overheating. That is the only thing that me personally, I am worried about. And seeing others, they haven't pulled the trigger because they are worried about the durability or longevity of this. I will be brutally honest. And I'm not getting paid to say this, but for $306, if you did not pick these up, I don't know what you're waiting for. If you think that $306 is expensive, I don't know what to tell you. Go get Aimtraks. You want my Aimtraks? You could take those. This, for what I got in that box, it's mind-blowing. Me, Joel, a few others, we're trying to figure out how this company made the USB cord on this is bulky in a good way. It's not a bad thing. It's heavy. It's got weight to it. It's got this top sliding recoil. It's got an analog stick. It's got LEDs. How? That is my only question, is how did they pull this off and sell it for $306? And it's crazy, once these were released, Joel Retro Lizard picked these up first, and he wrote to us, hey, I'm picking these up. And I looked and I was like, I'm not gonna pick these up. It's $306. And then I thought to myself, like, you know, I'm not gonna get cheaper than that for what this has, what I'm getting in that box. Pedals? I pulled the trigger because I have a big feeling they're gonna raise the price on this. They're gonna say, wow, there is a big demand for this. And yeah. Now, some people are like, oh, you know, this is the first gen, this is the first rev. I'm gonna wait it out. I'm gonna see if they're gonna improve things. I can't see anything as of right now. I've been playing with these for no joke, probably about 3 hours total. I really can't see anything that I would update or upgrade. Again, the only thing is, how long is that solenoid gonna last, and how long is the spring gonna last in this? But it does seem like it's something that could be fairly fixable. I like them. Gunfire, though, to me is top tier. That is still #1. But honestly now, you got 2 first place. This thing is solid. Well, guys, there you have it. A quick update on the House of Rock. It's got an amazing upgrade for an amazing price. Again, this is the Rs3. I'm assuming it's the RetroShooter 3. Reapers. Sliding recoil, rumble in the handle. It's got extra buttons. I personally have to kind of sit down and now modify a couple of emulators to work correctly. Again, having this as a middle mouse click, I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was tied together. There's a plus and a minus to that. Plus side is you have an extra button to map or utilize. So newer games like on Technoparrot, you could map it out to this. You know, the minus, I have to basically now run an AHK that will have the middle mouse also click to the right mouse, but nothing major. VicVP, Gamecase arcades. Time will tell how long that's gonna last. Sheesh.